Hey guys, how's it going? Today, if you have issues with finishing your sketches in your sketchbook, if you kind of have like a real problem finishing your drawings in general, stick around. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I had that problem forever, and I think I have a lot of insight on it, so let me talk to you about it. During that, I'm going to be working on one of my own sketches and kind of talking a little bit about finishing this sketch and what it took to do that. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Also, press that like if you do like this kind of videos. Also, press that subscribe button so you get notified when I put up videos. So let's start talking. Real quick on this first. I'm going to be using, basically it's the equivalent of this. This is the Zebra F301 pen. It's a fine point. That's kind of the main thing. It's a fine point pen. It's basically just a ballpoint pen, but it's fine point. I use it almost every time. I'm like obsessed with it. This is a little bit different version, but it's the same thing. And this is just a sketch out of my memory, out of my mind. Like maybe like a rhino dude. It's like a series of ideas, right? Like a robot, I don't know, mouse dude. I'm thinking some kind of armored dragon head right here. Robot. So I know that when it comes to actually finishing sketches, it's kind of almost epidemic, right? It's pretty crazy how everybody has issues finishing their drawings. Not everybody, but a lot of people. That's something almost 90% of artists I've talked to and interacted with have. Is that just kind of like you start your sketch, it feels good to start it, right? It actually feels great to start because you're like, whoa, I'm getting this going. It's exciting. Opportunity, there's possibilities in your mind, and what happens is that at some point, maybe like 80-90% into maybe like 70% in, there's just something about it. You get bored of it, you don't want to finish it. Maybe you're not even bored of it, you're just hitting this like 80% point, 80-90% point. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Why? And you just kind of like put it away and you do something, or you start another sketch. You just start. You just have maybe a sketchbook full of starts but no finishes. So if a perfect book, and I've recommended this book like 100 times. The book, The War of Art, not The Art of War. That's a famous book by Sun Tzu, right? Can't remember. I'm talking about The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. It's a very short book, and actually the entire audio is here on YouTube. So go check that out. If I can find it, I will link it to you. I don't know if they took it down or not, but the entire audiobook is on YouTube. I really recommend that. Remember, The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And I believe it was written for anybody in a creative field to go to and kind of figure out why they're not finishing stuff. I know he tends to call it something. Usually when you define something, it's easier to resolve it. So he calls that kind of that force to stop, he calls it resistance. So he'll say resistance. He'll constantly refer to that as this resistance, and how do you overcome that resistance? I know for me personally, I can tell you stuff that I've felt and the way I got over it. So a couple of things got me over it. It was that book and a couple other books, but it was another book on time management, which I cannot recall, but any time management book will say this. So you write out the tasks that you need to get done. You can do it only within art, or you can do it, maybe you can do it like everything you need to get done in general. Because part of me was like, oh, I have something else to do. That was a big thought in my head. Oh, I gotta finish this other thing. Oh, I have to do this. So that would kind of set off these subconscious alarms in my head, like, oh, you gotta go do this. Oh, I don't have time for this. So writing it out in that kind of time management way was great. So the way it worked was you write out every task that you need to do, and then you organize those tasks by importance. So I have to get like my laundry done. That's pretty important. Or I have to go pick up a friend. That's like time important. But let me think of another example. I have to do this commission. That's extremely important. That should be number 1. The sketch I'm working on would be in number 3. But whatever it is that it is, whatever order you decide to do, or if you do it within art, if it's a task, a finishable task, spend whatever amount of time you need to on it. So when you have this big list of items, what you should do is guesstimate how much time it will take you, even overestimate. So if I'm doing a painting for a book cover, that's going to take me roughly, I don't know, 20 hours. Like 20 hours is like spread across a week, or it could take me as low as like 3 hours. But I'm going to guesstimate it based on how hard it is, and then I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to say, if I think it's going to take me 4 hours, I'll add another hour. I'll say it'll take me 5 hours. And that gives me a little room to wiggle around in. And I tell myself, based on my schedule, how long is that going to take me realistically? Realistically, it's going to take me, okay, well, I got work, I got not work, so I got this other job, I have this, I got to go hang out with my family, like go visit my family this weekend. And I'll be like, well, realistically, that'll take me about 4 days, let's say 6 hours, right? 6 hours spread across maybe 2 days. I could probably do it. Give myself an extra day just to make sure. But however long that takes me, I have to stay on that task the most and put like 90% of my effort on that task until it's done, completely done. Don't move on to the next one. Don't do a little bit, then do another little bit, then do that. Stay on that no matter how long it takes until it's done, until you're getting sick of it. That was actually one of the things that really got me over this, because in the first big task that I finished, where I had been doing these starts of sketches for years, the first big task I finished, it felt amazing, and I couldn't believe how accomplished I felt. And it was a rough landing, I was like, it's good enough, the drawing's good enough, but I made it. And then you build that muscle of like, okay, now I know I can finish something. Subconsciously, it's like, oh, I can finish stuff now. And then the next one you finish, it's a little bit easier. And then the next art piece you finish, it's a little bit easier after that. And then eventually it's part of your routine to finish stuff without stressing over it. Another way of thinking about this is people tend to make things a lot harder than they need to be. So like the start shouldn't be much more difficult than the finish, really. You're putting pen to paper, you're figuring issues out. I mean, granted, there's certain issues that you're not aware of, but let's say you are aware of them and someone told you to fix them, and it doesn't need to be more difficult. I'll tell you another kind of one that hits home for me, that was stopping me. Another thing that was stopping me was that I felt that if I finished my drawing, that what if it didn't turn out that good? And it's like, oh, and if it didn't turn out that good, what if I'm not as good at art as I thought I was? Does that make any sense? Like if I actually finish this, will people really see that I'm just okay? Or will I myself see that I'm just okay at drawing and there's stuff I don't know how to do? Because I would tell myself, oh, I could do that before, but what if I really can't do that? So those kind of weird ego thoughts kind of creep in my head, which you just got to get rid of, honestly. Just do it. And you just gotta, that's another little thing that'll kind of hang me back, at least. And I know that did it to a lot of other people too. If you can resonate with that, please, message me on the comments here and comment. Well, what are some reasons that you guys think that you don't finish? If you do have that issue, let me know in the comments. What are some things that you think are stopping you? Is it just lack of knowledge? Because usually it's lack of motivation, or what is it? Is it, or like I said, that resistance, that something's stopping you, where you kind of know you can do it, but there's something in you that stops you? Like, really dig into your feelings. What is it? Is it your ego? Is it just the knowledge? Is it really dig hard? And once you find out what it is, you can identify that, and that's the beginning to solving that. Because I would say a bunch of those, and this is getting a little kind of weird and psychology based, but a lot of those, they are not purely skill based. A lot of those are these mental issues in your personality that stop you. That's something I saw over and over when we were in school. These people that started out really good, like me, I started really good, and I just couldn't get better at some point. And it had nothing to do with the teaching or instruction or practice I was doing. I was putting all the practice in it. It was my mind stopping me, and that was kind of my I had this, how do you say this? I had this habit of kind of ruining, kind of self-sabotaging myself. And I would do it through everything, especially through kind of drawing and art back then as well. It would show at that point. Anyways, if any of that is even mildly resonating with you, please hit me up on the comments. Let me know your reasons. That's kind of it, pretty much. If you do, like I said, like this video or stuff like that, you know, hit that like button, share the video. Sharing, I guess, is going to be a huge deal since YouTube's making a lot of changes. Let me talk really quick at the very end right now about this particular sketch. What I'm doing with this sketch is I'm trying to figure out what to push back into space and pull forward. That's the biggest thing right now at this stage. So I'm putting that black background in order to make these figures pop forward. So in order to do that, like usually anything dark, really dark, will push back into space if it's kind of a flat surface there, and the lighter stuff will pop forward. You can also do the reverse. Sometimes the dark will come forward and then the light will go back, depending on kind of the composition of your drawing. This one I would say is more like that. But for example, there's dark right here on the lizard's. This is a core shadow right here on the lizard's neck. I mean, that's not going back into space per se. Maybe a little, but it's signifying a shadow. Where the background is signifying, I don't know, just like a matted background or something, a design element. And I'm gonna throw some thicker lines around here. I'm gonna chuck this one on Instagram, so you guys will see the post there. That's it. Thank you guys, I appreciate it, and I'll see you a lot more often. I'm gonna be posting more. I always say that, but I mean it. All right, see you later, guys.